Today I'm taking a look at Driven to Tears by The Police, and I did Message in a Bottle a few days ago, a week ago, whenever it was, and I got so many people asking me to do more Police. And as I stated in the previous video, I'm a huge Andy Summers fan, and Driven to Tears is one of my all-time favorite songs from The Police. There's several, of course, but this is just such a cool tune. Just a lot of cool use of space and everything else. So let's get into it. I'm in standard tuning. I'm using chorusing, probably not quite as much as Andy actually used, just for the sake of the lesson. A pinch of reverb and some delay, but I'll turn the delay off for the tutorial part, okay? But those are the effects that I'm using. You can also put a little compression in line if you want to, and to use that for sustain purposes. And so let's get started. The first thing is we open with this riff. And what's cool about this riff is when you start it out, that open A string falls on the downbeat. Then after that, it falls on the upbeats. And there's a little muting going on back here, of course, just to make the notes very staccato and, well, muted and pop out. But it's a simple riff, as you can see from the tab, and I'm doing it with all downstrokes. Now, once you get past the first few notes, where that A string falls on the downbeat, you play the following pattern 8 times before Sting starts singing. And then he starts singing the verse. Now what happens here is you always play the lick, the riff, 3 times before you play the... So you can kind of work that out in your head. You just play it 3 times. But on the 4th time, you play the riff 4 times. So you have those first 3 notes as a lead-in to the chorus. Okay, but before we get there, let's talk about these chords. Very cool. These are actually just, you can look at them as an inverted D and an inverted C, okay? It's the equivalent of going like this. But in reality, what Andy's really doing is creating a minor 7th type sound because Sting is continually playing that. So you've got that sort of A drone almost happening there, which makes it, gives it more of a full minor 7th sound. But he's not playing full minor 7th chords. He's just playing these shapes. So you're barring at the 14th fret on the first 4 strings. Your second finger is on the 15th fret on the B string. It's pretty tight up here. And then your ring finger is on the 16th fret on the D string, and you just move it a whole step. And you can go down up on that last one or down down, whichever suits you best. And like I said, you do that 3 times, and then on the 4th time, once again, you play the riff 4 times with a 3-note lead-in to the chorus. So you've got that 3-note lead-in, and And then we land a full-on D minor 7th chord, but just sweep from the 5th string down to the 2nd string, down to the B string. Don't bring in the high A. 2 downstrokes, carry the chord up a whole step. Add your pinky to the 10th fret on the B string for the 2nd stroke of that chord. And kind of glissando off of that B string. So the riff in between is, which you can see on the tab, pretty easy to play, and once again with some muting back here. So on the second time, we grab that A chord. It's just an A5 chord, open A string, 2nd fret on the D, and 2nd fret on the A. And then you go through everything again. But after the 2nd chorus, there's a little bit of a key change there, and that leads into Andy's amazing guitar solo. So we come off of the 2nd chorus like so. And then the solo happens, okay? So what we're doing there is, instead of playing the riff here, we're playing it down here at F sharp. And this chord is just a root 5th octave. You can play it like this if you want as well. 4th fret on the D string, 6th fret on the G string, and 7th on the B string. And that way you don't have that string skip in there. But I just like the way it sounds here. I think it sounds really bright and cool. Sounds more like the recording to me down there. So what I'm doing is I'm barring across the 1st and 2nd strings at the 2nd fret, skipping a string. I'm on the 4th fret on the D string. And this is a cross-picking pattern, and remember, we're skipping the G string all together, okay? So we've got down, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up. And you want to play that 4 times. Like I say, that leads right into Andy's solo. But before we get to the solo, let's talk about what happens after the solo. So he comes out of his amazing guitar solo, and we return to a verse. So you can see they didn't play the pattern 3 times. It just happens once, and they go right into the lead into the chorus. And they're also going to do a double chorus here, okay? So once again, coming out of the solo, we will have this. song ends. So let's get to Andy's solo. It's just really cool. He didn't play a lot of guitar solos, but it seems like when he did, he really made them count. And this is no exception. I've always loved this solo. It's just dissonant and agitated sounding. It's just very cool. So here we go with the solo. Just great. What a cool solo. Okay, so a bit on the tone here. I've got a lot of gain, a lot of overdrive distortion. He obviously does as well on the recording, but he's also incredibly loud. So he's getting some nice feedback on a couple of notes. I'm not really loud enough to get that right here, but you want a lot of gain. I would suggest the neck position pickup and everything wide open on the guitar. And as a note, he enters his solo off of this chord that we were cross-picking earlier. So he's tremolo picking the 4th fret on the D string and slides all the way up to the 14th fret, and that's where the insanity starts to happen. So let's just do that slide and walk you through the solo nice and slow. So you can kind of see what fingers I'm using there. I'm really just keeping it to the first 3 fingers. And hit that note a second time at the 14th fret. And you don't have to glissando off of it like that. I just have a habit of doing that, but you do want to stop the note. So that's... So now we have... And then the way I do this is... And that's a half step bend on that 10th fret on the D string. And that's one of the notes that you hear a random feedback tone on. He gets this kind of in there. You kind of hear that even though it's really just a harmonic. And then rake across the strings. So I'm on the 14th fret on the B string, rake across the strings. That's a full step bend. And then it's 12, 13, and 12 on the G string. And he kind of does a heavy vibrato. It almost sounds like he's starting to bend the note up a little bit. And then once again, some random feedback comes in and he just kind of slides off of the note. Very cool indeed, I must say. Andy Summers, there you go. So there's the lesson on Driven to Tears, including the guitar solo. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And all the best to everyone. Once again, I can't thank you guys enough for subscribing and supporting the channel and all the really wonderful comments that you leave. So all the best to everyone. Happy holidays and all the rest of it. And we'll see you guys again soon.